Welcome back to Gordon's Views and Reviews, where we look at everything from world politics to how my grass is growing, where I buy products and test them, and I give you my honest evaluation to help you with your purchasing decisions. The other night I was browsing through Amazon and I came across an Evistr digital voice recorder I hadn't seen before, the V509. Was this an update to the V508? What was it? And how did it compare to the V508? I wanted to know, so I ordered one, and we're going to answer those questions and more in this video. So I'm not going to do a regular unboxing. Needless to say, it came in this box. Inside you have the recorder, a USB-C cable to transfer files to the computer, a pair of generic headphones, a set of AAA batteries, and you can see there's an instruction manual. Let's take a look at the screen on this. You can see it's in color. I'll scroll through the menu options for you here so you can see what all is available. So we'll start with the settings. There are 4 options available: settings, music, recorder, and folder view. So we'll start with the settings. I'm not going to read all the options available to you. You can read them as we scroll through here. And most of them have subsections, so you click on it and it'll give you options. Languages, for example, gives you most of the world languages. You go through and select which one is most comfortable for you. Music, you have your play settings, sound settings. That's where the EQ, the equalizer, would be found with more than half a dozen selections. Recording, you get to choose your format, WAV or MP3. You get to set your bit rate. You get to set Tarak, AV mode. I find it very frustrating that these Chinese companies can't do a little more to have people review their English translations, their English spelling, their English grammar. It would really, really enhance their products, and I'm thrilled any time that I find a company that has taken the time to take care of that. A very simple example of that is on the box directly under the recorder right now. It says, and you may have noticed it when we had a shot of the box, it says that this has a lithium-ion battery in it. So here you have the menu button, the record button, the navigation buttons, back button, delete button. At the bottom you have a speaker. On the right side, the on-off switch, and you have the lock button. On the left side you have the SD card slot, and you have the slot for the USB-C connection to transfer files. On the back you have the battery cover. Inside, you have 2 AAA batteries. On the top, you have the 2 microphones, and you have the microphone line input as well as the headphone jack. On the back, you have a slot to accept a lanyard. The sleep screen is a clock with a date. And then when that one shuts down at the time you select, it goes to, the screen goes blank. The unit goes to sleep. The first thing that struck me was the weight and the feel of this in the hand. It's very, very light. It's all plastic. Without batteries, this thing weighs nothing. And even with the batteries, it doesn't weigh much. And the build quality just doesn't seem good. But more on that later. The first thing to note with this recorder is that it's battery operated. It operates on 2 AAA batteries. There is no USB recharging capability on this unit. This is actually one of the things that attracted me to this unit. The main advantage of this over a rechargeable unit is that if it dies in the field, it's very quick and easy to replace a pair of batteries, which sometimes isn't quite so easy to do, even if you're using a USB power pack to recharge things. Yes, you need to have an extra set of batteries with you, but that's not a big deal. It's not that hard to do, and it's much easier than packing everything that's needed to recharge with using the USB charger. And how long before you can actually start recording if you're using the USB recharging pack? If you keep a recorder with you all the time and you don't check it daily, having replaceable batteries can be a big advantage over having to recharge a unit. So let's do some recordings and see what this thing sounds like. I won't do any processing to any of the audio samples other than possibly to balance them so there are not large discrepancies in the volume. So let's take a look. This is a test of the V509. I'm sitting in my living room. It's a non-treated room. The microphone is 15 inches or so from my mouth. There are no other sounds in the room, so it's fairly quiet. We'll compare this with the V508. Now, let's compare the V509 with the V508. Physically, the V508 is slightly smaller in all dimensions. It's thinner, it's narrower, it's about the same height. The layout of the buttons is very similar, except the V509 has the single touch record button on the front, which I personally prefer. Both recorders have line-in external mic setting, which is a good thing. The V508 has a denoise circuit on it that you can turn on or off. That's a big plus. The V509 says it has a built-in denoise circuit, but I haven't seen a lot of evidence of it. And of course, both recorders have an external speaker. As I mentioned earlier, the V509 is very lightly built. It's an all-plastic construction, and frankly, it feels cheap. The buttons feel cheap when you push them. The grills over the microphones appear to be a very thin sheet of metal with some holes punched in it, as opposed to an actual grill. By comparison, the V508 is all metal construction. And the buttons on the V508 have a really solid feel to them. But what about the recording quality? How are the comparisons there? Now I'm recording simultaneously into both the Evistr V508 and the V509. I am in my vocal booth, which is heavily treated, so we'll see if there's a difference between this and the living room recordings. Now I'm recording simultaneously into both the Evistr V508 and the V509. I am in my vocal booth, which is heavily treated, so we'll see if there's a difference between this and the living room recordings. This is a test of the V509. I'm sitting in my living room. It's a non-treated room. The microphone is 15 inches or so from my mouth. There are no other sounds in the room, so it's fairly quiet. We'll compare this with the V508. Here I am in my living room recording into the V508. The microphone is about 15 inches from my mouth. This is an untreated room. This is for comparison with the V509. For comparison, this is the Evistr lavalier mic plugged into the Evistr V509. The microphone is in the same position on my lapel, and I am still sitting in my living room. This recording is being done with the Evistr lavalier microphone, recording into the Evistr V509. The lavalier microphone is approximately a foot from my mouth. I'm recording in my living room, which is an untreated room. So this is a test using the Comica lavalier microphone. I have the gain on it turned very low, and we'll see if there's any distortion here. This is the Evistr V508 using the Evistr lavalier microphone for comparison with the Evistr V509. Now I'm recording simultaneously into both the Evistr V508 and the V509. I am in my vocal booth, which is heavily treated, so we'll see if there's a difference between this and the living room recordings. So what are my final thoughts on the V509? Well, I do like that it's battery powered. I find this is really convenient. I think it's much easier to carry an extra set of batteries with me than have to worry about having a USB power pack. I like the record button, the single touch record button on the front. Much prefer that over the slider on the side. I like that it has a Type-C connector for transferring files from the recorder to the computer. And I like that it has the voice-activated recording mode, the timed recording mode. The A/B repeat is a handy feature as well. The EQ settings on the music, a nice touch. And I definitely like the external mic line-in capabilities. I like that it accepts an SD card. And the color screen is a very nice touch. But there are some issues with the 509. For me, the biggest problem is the self-noise. This is a very noisy recorder by comparison to the V508. And it really would have been nice if Evistr had included the denoise capability on the V509. It would have made a huge difference. The other significant issue for me is the sensitivity of the microphones. These are really sensitive microphones. If you're hand holding this and speaking into it to make notes to yourself, you have to be very careful not to have it too close because it will distort. As you saw with the lavalier microphone, it was distorting quite badly. Whereas on the 508, it wasn't an issue. Not everyone is going to have a lavalier microphone that has a gain control on it. With the gain control, I was able to turn it down, and it was fine. But that's an issue. It's super hot. The information on the Amazon page says that this thing will record 60 feet away. Well, having that capability is not nearly as important as recording properly at, a normal recording distance of a foot or so. So overall, you're not going to record anything high quality on this because of the noise, unless you're prepared to do a lot of post-production work. That is doable. I've given you a sample of how you can clean it up. So there are some conveniences to this recorder, but there are probably better options. The only one that I really find of value is the fact that I can carry an extra set of batteries with me and have this ready anytime I want it. So thank you for watching. I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. As always, stay safe, take care of each other, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.